Keshe Foundation, an independent, non-profit, non-religious, space-based organization founded by nuclear engineer Mehran Tavakoli Keshe, is introducing to humanity the science of the universe, plasma science. Keshe Foundation develops universal knowledge in space technologies that provide solutions to major global problems, revolutionizing agriculture, health, energy, transportation, materials, and more. The application of plasma science in the form of specially developed plasma reactors and other devices will give humanity the real freedom to travel in deep space. Plasma science exists throughout the whole universe. It is here and it belongs to you. Our knowledge, research, and development regarding the plasma structure has progressed to the point of enabling everyone to participate in the process. Become a creator and understand the work of the universe for the good of humankind on this planet as well as in space. The use of megravs, nanomaterials, GANs, liquid plasma, field plasma, and other plasma technologies have come as a new dawn for humanity to progress and work in harmony with the universe. Conventional technology applications are wasteful, damaging, and cause pollution to the planet and all living beings. Plasma science provides solutions and improves existing methods and use of resources in all aspects that touch the lives of all beings. Plasma is defined by the Foundation as an entire content of fields which accumulate and create matter and is not defined by its physical characteristics like ionization or temperature. Also, with plasma science, we understand how we can convert matter back to the fields. Quoting from Mr. Keshe, MEGRAV stands for magnetic gravitational, which means plasma absorbs or gives. And every plasma has the both. It has give and it has take. And when they can't find the balance, they distance themselves until they find the balance they can give to the others, that they can receive what they want to receive and give further. Certain atoms and molecules release and absorb magnetic or gravitational fields. Released fields are available to be absorbed by other objects. The Keshe Foundation has developed a way to gather these free-flowing fields from the environment within a resourceful and beneficial new state of transitional matter, which M.T. Keshe named GANs. The first step of the process of the formation of various basic types of GANs is nano-coating metals. This is carried out either chemically by etching, steam coating with sodium hydroxide, or thermally by heating, fire coating by gas burner. During either coating process, gaps between outermost layers of atoms are created. The residual coating is often referred to as nano-coating, defined by the structured layers of nanomaterial, which build up during the creation process of the coating. Nano-coated metal in interaction with other various metal plates in a saltwater solution creates megrav fields. These fields then attract available elements to form a specific GANs, which collects and settles at the bottom of the container. This GANs is formed from independent energized molecules like little suns that can be used in various applications.
Welcome, everyone, to the 186th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, August 24th, 2017. This is a production of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And once again, we are happy to have Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation with us today. I think he's ready to go with today's show. Is that true, Mr. Keshe? Are you there?
Yes, good morning, good day to you as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to these Knowledge Seekers workshops. I would like to mention a few things that is important for us to understand and be going to the depth of the teaching much deeper that we understand more as we expand. There is a message for Keshe Foundation Chinese members. Please refer back to QQ, which is set up for Chinese supporters for the meeting of tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Beijing time. It's important that every Chinese member participates or at least will be there. It's the beginning of the setting up of the Keshe Foundation teachings and organizing, as we promised, that will support the Keshe Foundation China in a different way, as there are so many Chinese who work around the foundation. We're trying to bring some organization into it. Establishment of the Keshe Foundation management team we're looking into, which is getting done. Keshe Foundation website and Keshe Foundation totally in all supporting all the manufacturers, the people who've done some research, the scientists who are working around the foundation. We're looking for you to be there tomorrow morning. I'll be joining you on QQ or on WhatsApp, and then we can go to the next steps. We try to organize teachings directly in Chinese. Then the teaching will be translated back into English, or if it needs to be the same as what we do here, the reverse of bringing the knowledge from Chinese in a direct way into Keshe Foundation worldwide. This is important for us in the steps which are taking place, and to create a condition where all the Chinese community of the Keshe Foundation become to be working and collaborating the way we used to be about 2 years ago, and we bring it back in that the Chinese have their own teachings and their own workshops, and we go through the same process as KFSSI, but in the Chinese language. These are part of the structure we promised to bring, and now we are ready to go for it. The KF China has been set up, what we call the Keshe China QQ. This Keshe Foundation point of teachings from this point onwards. The development of the Keshe Foundation China management will take its shape in the next few months, and then we'll go into very much supporting all the Keshe Foundation Chinese people who have produced, manufactured, or gained knowledge which you like to teach. So there is no need for translation. Everything will be in Chinese, and some of their work could be translated back into other languages. The next point for us is that we had a good news, as some of you heard from South Sudan last week. We have received a picture of the members of the different organization, MOU, what do you call it, non-profit organizations and governmental offices which attend the conference. They have signed the picture of the peace treaty, and they have taken a picture of it. Rick, do you have it in the background we could share? This is important as we take a step into the governmental sections in different countries that they would like to be taught. As we heard from one of the delegations last week, we will concentrate heavily on Africa to expand the knowledge now through the African nations. This is beautiful to see what has been achieved and what it is, and how they're achieving this. Africa for us is important, that we can bring everything back in this. This is important that we support all the African nations. We'll go into um, different countries like Liberia, Togo is on our line, and Kenya, South Africa, and Uganda Cash Foundation will be supported to come into manufacturing in a very short time. Please keep in line and in touch with the foundation because we start moving very fast in African nations. It's part of our priority. The other point which we have is in respect to the Keshe Foundation Ghana will go back into production hopefully in the next couple of weeks. The premises have been secured. Now it's a matter of setting it up, and we authorize all the equipment and machinery to be shipped from China to set up a standard procedure. And those of you who are looking for support in Ghana, please stay in touch with Benjamin. The development there is that the new premises will be well equipped and then will expand to 3,000 square meter. We are very happy with what's happening in Ghana. We are on course, online with moving from smaller premises to a much, much larger premises. There is a message from us to Alex. We are sad to hear what has happened to you. We are glad you're back. And I hope and wish you a rapid recovery. It is part of the work which happens, and it's unfortunate that one of the members of the Keshe Foundation Universal Council and the Earth Council has been badly damaged. It was attacked, and he's back on the course of recovery. We wish you all the best and hope to recover very rapidly. We have a question mark in the Universal Council in regarding the point that in Dubai conference, as part of the setup of the Keshe Foundation Universal Council group of 12, which adds to 12, there is a misunderstanding because people are reading only one section of the mandate, not the totality of it. You have to go further up as you come down. The membership of the Universal Council is for life as long as you feel you can serve humanity towards peace and share of knowledge. The position of the 12 seat is that it allows every member to be in one seat for 12 months to be able to rotate across different circles of knowledge and what we call understanding of the technology in the language. It has been misunderstood that some people think that Universal Council members are for 1 year. There is no such a thing. If you have to read the structure which is set up. You have the 12 center chairs with each chair being part of the second 12. Rick, do you have the pictures of the Dubai, what we call the Universal Council mandate? If you can share it with us. So what it means, every year, one of the members of the 12 moves into the center seat or to the seat of the next circle. This is important that it does not create a permanent members in each circle. This means that everybody stays as one nation, one planet, and we get to know each other better. We understand each other's work better. We see in different circles in what operation has been taken according to the language. And this is the only reason it's been done, that we do not create a permanent seat. The permanent seat has been always the cause of problem. People, they think they are there for good. Therefore, this way, more than 1 year, you can take a seat in the center, what I call the seat of the councils. And then in any shape or form, they're all center. It's just that when the wheels to rotate, everybody rotates together. There is no restriction on this section. This is important for all of us to know, because apparently this has raised before that the membership is only for 1 year. It's for life. You stay as a Universal Member Council for life, as long as you think you can serve the Council to the best of your ability to be the cause and initiator and protector of the peace and the spread of knowledge equally amongst all men. This is important for us. And this has to be part of the work of the Universal Council. We are moving very rapidly in the direction of one nation, one planet. There will be some announcements in the coming time which take us very rapidly to what we wished. We stay on course for the development of the one nation, one course. The Charter for the Humanity is getting drawn up by the councils in the background. It's important, those of you who become member of the council and those of you who are member of the council, to understand the charter has to be connected to the soul of the man, which in that way is connected to the soul of the whole universe, which means it's the only way we work on is not by the appearance of the physicality, but by understanding the soul of the man, which is the manifestation of the physicality of the man. This is part of our understanding. And then as we go into the teaching, I try to expand on this a little bit more today, because it's important for us to understand where and how this is going to expand and where it's going to take us to. In this understanding, as we can see, the circle of the knowledge stands and stays at 144, which means the 12 become part of the 12. And this is important for all of us. The totality of the 12 creates the council. Now at the moment we have about 26 members of 20 different languages of the world. We cover a huge majority of the world languages. The Russian member has withdrawn, as she cannot, according to her, serve, as she does not see herself to be able to do. So the Russian seat has been opened up. If anybody who thinks who can serve the council with the Russian language, you can apply for the seat. They're very simple the way the setup is. We have a position with the Iranian Council or the Persian language, as Dr. Parvis has moved into the Earth Council. There are a number of languages which needs to be fulfilled and to be extended. Those of you of different languages who think you can be part of the Universal Council, please put your request to, as you do in the request for joining to become a member of the Universal Council. And it is as you write to Universal Council, the email is on the site. You can submit your application that you want to be a member of the council, and a standard procedure will take place after security check. This is the paragraph exactly where I'm talking about. This is where there has been some confusion. It says the rotation of all members of 12 councillors and 12 sub-council leaves in the main 144 council is by rotation of members and will be for duration of one cycle of mans for 1 year. This means when you saw the circles, you rotate. You cannot sit in one seat. This is everybody taught this for 1 year. You can serve for tens of years, or you can be there for months, depend according to what you feel you can serve humanity. There are no titles and there are no position as such that it can be abused. There is no voting right. It's just that the wish of the man to create peace on this planet. And through your wish, you promote and you work for the work of the humanity to progress in the right direction. If we go back to understanding this, what we speak about the soul of the man. In the teachings, we have to understand and go for a step further in this level. What is important for us is that with the soul of the man, we understood a very simple physicality. I go back to part of the teaching because it's important for what we are talking about. This is part of the knowledge here. If you remember, and what we have explained in the other teachings, is that when we have the sun, the rays of the sun in interaction with the rays of the field of the earth leads to creation of light, and in different shapes and forms. If you look at it, the interaction of the two fields, both from the sun and the earth, leads to creation of matters. This being water, this be it hydrogen, this be it any elements, nitrogen, gold, silicon. This is what we never understood in the world of science up to now, that most of the material which lands on the surface or held within the atmosphere of the earth is created by the condition of the gravitational magnetic field of the earth and partially by interaction of the field. So in that process, if we understand what it means, is that if we look at it, the field strength within the structure of the earth and the field strength within the sun and the earth has led to the creation of physicality and the content of the matter within the planet. Atmospheric gravitational field forces. So in fact, if we look, the field of the sun is not just in one side, is in the totality. So when the fields of the sun interacts with gravitational magnetic field of the earth, dictates the physicality of the earth. So the physicality manifestation, the physicality of the earth in so many ways is dependent on the presentation of its soul. If we call the soul of the solar system to be the sun, the interaction of the fields of the soul and the field of the earth has led to the free manifestation of the physicality of the earth itself. This is what it dictates to have. It wants to have copper in it, it wants to have zinc in it, but due to its gravitational magnetic field strength, does not want other elements. So this is important for us to understand in the expansion of the knowledge, that the interaction of the fields within the structure of the solar system has led to the creation, manifestation, and the physicality of matters in the structure of the earth. Now we have to go a step further. If we go a step further and repeat the same thing, where this was the sun and this is the earth. Now, if we place the earth as a gravitational magnetic field and we place the soul of the man, the interaction of the physicality of the man, which shows itself with two legs and two arms and eyes, is dictated by the interaction of the field of the soul in respect to field of the earth. That is why in every creature on this planet we see the same configuration of brain in two halves. If you have a copper in you, if you have magnesium, trees and branches and everything else. So in so many ways, the soul of the man with the fields it radiates, with the interaction with the fields of the sun and itself, leads to the creation of physicality of the man. Just 1 second please, I have to answer a door. Sorry about that. So now we understand why we physically look like this. Because we follow the same pattern. The same goes if we go further up. The interaction of the fields of the galaxy in interaction with the sun dictates the same shape of the solar system. Now you go from the galaxy to the universe, then it gives the shape of the galaxy. Then we understand our physical dimension on this planet is dictated by the field forces of the planet itself. We have two arms, two legs. This is the condition which fits. Then if you understood this, when the man reaches the soul and understand the operation of his soul in the dimension of the traveling into the galaxies or into the universal condition, then you understand how when you come to another condition, then let's call the condition, instead of being the earth, planet A, then our soul is still the same, it has not changed. But now in the dimension of the new field strength, it might need manifestation of different physicality. So in so many ways, now we have the same with the same interaction. This is how our physicality changes according to the position we arrive, according to the wish of the soul of the man. This is fundamental for those who take into space and understand the progress in the knowledge of the creation. This is how in all the teachings in the past we explained the manifestation of the physicality is dependent on the point of the field strength as the soul decides to manifest itself. If you look very simply, the soul is the same. It's the environment which has changed. And with that, we manifest ourselves in totally different way in different areas, according to the step. It's very much, it's the same H2O. In the condition of the freezer, it manifests itself as ice. In a condition of the room at a high temperature and cold outside, it manifests itself as a steam on the glass. Or in the right condition, it manifests itself as a water. Now, with the soul of the man in a plasma condition, that we understand the existence of the plasma, now we are conditioned in the same place. In space, we do not carry physicality, as, let's say, the field in A can be very much in the field in Earth, on Earth, but let's say in vapor condition. So in that condition, for manifestation of physicality, we might appear, and we have to appear, that what it fits not to be a vapor, but to see what creatures of that point manifest themselves in. As birds, as fish, as breathing between the two. We have seen this with the birth of the man in the womb of the mother, and on when a birth comes to become in an earth atmospheric condition. You have a microphone open in the background, please. This is important for us to understand. This, this, this is important for us to progress into. Now it makes it much clearer for all of us why and how, when we start teaching, that we will manifest ourselves according to where we manifest, where we come. This is important for all of us. This takes the fear out of space travel. This gives strength to man to understand. Now he decides. At this point, I don't want to be manifested. I want to see how does it feel if I'm in a dimensional field without physicality between the galaxies, matter states of the stars. I want to see how life is in a given condition which is only liquid. In a coming time, we'll show this in physicality in tests. As I said, we have committed the space technology of the Keshe Foundation in the spaceship program to the Chinese government. And all these tests will be done in collaboration with the Chinese government. Creation of life, manifestation of life in the deep seas, in the atmospheric condition and below atmosphere, and above atmosphere. That gradually we gain confidence that our manifestation, our presentation, our physicality is dependent on the condition of the point of manifestation. This is why when we look at the satellite pictures produced by the space agencies, we see entities in motion, but we do not see the physicality of them. Where if we were at their strength, we should see physicality in them. Why? We see only the aura of their existence. We have shown these videos many times, produced by NASA, taken from deep space or from the space from space lab, where we see shapes floating. But to us, we don't understand, because at that point we do not carry the strength of what they have in that position. It's very much like the birds. If the man wishes to carry the strength of the bird, he can become a bird. This is the fear we had. Now we understand the combination, what leads to the mutation of the elements is not just the element, it's the manifestation of combination of elements. This is what we can become, whatever according to the wish and the strength of the soul. When we look at the soul of a fish, when we look at the soul of the man, when we look at the soul of the bird, a man, if goes out of fear, he can acquire the soul of a fish, the soul of a bird. Is our lack of understanding which has created this fear and not being able to. Now that we open the space to man, man understanding the strength of his own soul, understands how he can change. Ask yourself one simple question. If what we have shown here, that you become according to your soul to manifestation, now that you can control and understand the strength of your soul, then you understand that how we can do this on this planet. This is gaining strength in the knowledge. This is what we said. If this technology understood fully, it opens totally a new dimension for the soul of the man and becomes part of the soul of the totality of the universe. Then man becomes the man of peace. And those who reach this level, they will understand how progressive the man can and has become to become part of the universal community. As we said many times, when we take man to space, we take him as equal, not as subordinates, that he does not understand the totality. But we have to understand the comprehension of the knowledge is spread across the strength of the understanding of the man. Some would like still to be on a donkey, some still walk, and some on a jet plane, and some drive the car. Nobody has said anything is wrong. It depends how long you want to be on the path of the travel from A to B. You still can sail the seas to go from A to B and takes you 80 days. You can do the same thing in 10 hours, or you can get in the car and do it in 1 year. Now, man has the knowledge to acquire and understand the strength of his soul, and in that, he decides the manifestation of itself in the dimension of the strength of the physicality of the point of manifestation. How do we like to manifest ourselves? As we said, we took you step by step from matter to the GANs and to energy. Now that you understand the collective interaction of the energies, magnetic fields and gravitational fields in the womb of the mother leads to the creation of the soul of the man. Now, from the soul, we dictate the physicality, which is what has been missing in the knowledge of the science of the man. The discussion is not when. The discussion is on the level of maturity of understanding the totality and the truth. The knowledge is there. It's for us in how deep we want to go in this process. In one of my communications, very past few hours, to one of the members of the Universal Council, to the Earth Council, I explained in a very simple way. There is something in all the teachings which you have missed, or maybe not many missed, but some did not understand, or in the process was not understood. If you go back to the teachings, we have understood that pain has gravitational magnetic field strength that in our brain recognizes itself as pain. Joy the same, love the same, fear the same. It has strength of gravitational magnetic field, which is at the strength point from the soul of the man. What this means is that we decide, and in the process of our brain, if this is our brain and this is our soul, which is the center of the field, as the field comes at a given strength, this here as a field interacts with the brain components or parts or whatever you want to call it, at this strength we recognize it as pain. At this strength nearer to the soul, we recognize it as joy. At this strength, which is much stronger, we recognize it as love or giving, because then it closest to the soul, touches the eternal part of the man. But there is one point which we have missed, maybe now we can understand. Thoughts, what we think, has a field strength. Therefore, when you understand this, then you understand the thought of the man, what we think, itself has a field strength. Then the deeper we thought, the more we understand about the strength of our thoughts in respect, the closer we become to the soul strength, closer to, nearer to. And then that point, maybe we all come to have one common denominator that we all reach. Then we can communicate from soul to soul. This is what we call zero time communication. This is a time when you're in pain, the mother feels, the father feels, because the thoughts are so deep that it touches beyond the level of love, which is the level of thoughts, which is closer to the soul. And at that point, we all have one common denominator according to the amino acid of this planet, which created the soul of the man. Then we reach the level of zero time communication. This is the time when we come, we don't need to talk, we feel each other. Then it comes to understand why so many prophets in the past became so close to their soul that they became to touch the other men's souls, because they felt the pain, and the pain through it brought them joy that they could survive to give to the others, and that brought them to the school of thoughts, that they became closer by the strength to become detached from the physicality. As you go further in towards the soul, the more detached you become from physicality part of the brain. As you understood in the teachings, this is where we sit. The physicality is at the boundary. The emotion sits and the thoughts in the center. So as we go further in towards the understanding of the operation and close to the soul, the stronger fields, the more common denominator of understanding. In time, when man progresses to the further steps, that he understands the totality, then he becomes soul in a strength near enough to the strength of the soul of the creator. And then you can travel in that process from the strength of the planet to the strength of the sun or the solar system, and then you understand more, you can travel in the space of the galaxies and the universe and universes. And then at one point, one might reach the process of the understanding of the whole lot. This is the beauty of it, and this is part of it. And we have to understand this. This is part of the existence. This is part of understanding the reality about the creation of the man. Then we can go in deeper space. Then when we go in deeper space, we understand one point, that all men are equal. All creatures of the God are equal, because we all carry the same strength in the dimension of the soul of the creation. Then the man of space decide if you want to travel with this part, which is the donkey, or barefooted, or you want to go at the strength of the spaceship and beyond, and the understanding of the soul. This is important in this part of the teachings because many people are understood and moving in that direction. As I said last week, we start teaching for those who have moved towards the space development, what you call the spaceship. Now it's needed to be taught, it's needed to be clarified that we all understand this process of progress of man in the knowledge of the science of the creation.
Hello, Mr. Cash. This is Klaus from Austria. Sorry for interruption. I'm in the backseat of the car. Can I present at 11:15?
Pardon? Can you speak to the background with the team, please?
Okay.
You have to speak correct. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is important. This is important for us that we speak and we understand what we speak about. This is important that we understand the totality of the knowledge. As we're going and we're enlightening more and more knowledge, those who move in a different speed of understanding with a massive progress in their understanding and development, they can reach these barriers. Do we need to come to that point? Or do we need to receive that we can elevate our souls, which in turn, by giving more, it allows us to have a strength that it reaches in the time of communication with the soul of another. Then the fear of being left alone in the space does not create the fear of the end of the physicality, as the soul of the man dictates the presentation and manifestation of the physicality at the point wherever he wishes. One of the fears which we have is we got used to, we are conditioned, and in a way we are institutionalized to the gravitational magnetic field of this planet, and we have set everything up to live with this condition, where now we have the freedom to be in space and carry on and develop that point of the space-time. Zero time travel, zero development of communication, where we contact, we communicate through the soul and not through the verbal noise of the physicality of the vibration of the sound which comes from the mouth of the man. Then there shall be no fear and there shall be no lies, as the souls are perfect in their manifestation. Then we understand how the physicality leads to so much problem for the man, because now it has to adjust itself to the environment which is created by him, according to the interaction of his soul in respect to the physical dimensions of the entry of what we call the physicality of the man on this planet. The physical condition of this planet, which has led the man, or the combination of interaction of the soul of the man, to lead him to consumption of so much energy for that physical part. You got to realize something very important, and in part of the teaching, in private teachings, I have taught this many times, but I explain this for you to understand. We know man is created from the interaction of the fields between the sun and the gravitational magnetic field of itself. In that process, it has led to creation of amino acid. The amino acid comes from the gaseous part, which has a dimension of freedom of itself in that process, that it lives of non-physical part, but matter part, gans part of the condition of the life. But in attachment to the gravitational field force of the physical part of the entity, which is due to the inertia and gravitational magnetic fields, man in that process has chosen to become the physicality. So if you understand this, it makes it very simple. Our physical part, which is connected to the inertia, is the consumer of physicality of the food and others as a package. Not the amino acid, which is the condition of the creation of the soul of the man. Because that comes from the gaseous part, which has no physical connection to the body of the man. So in a space, if we can create the field strength of the physicality, then we do not need to feed, because we can feed directly to the soul of the man. This is where most of the fear of the man in deep space has to be retracted. The confidence has to be built that in deep space, we are part of this space. And then all we have to do is to go into the deeper strength of the plasma. In so many ways, then as we lived in the physical dimension at this strength, now we go, as this is the plasma of the amino acid, which has led to the creation of our soul in interaction with the matter state of the part, which is the inertia part. Then when we take the inertia part to feed at this strength, we move to further and higher strength. And the more we understand interactions of the environmental, physical, matter condition, field strength, then we can get closer and at a higher speed by order of magnitude to travel the depth of the space, communicate with the others without verbal word, where we feel the communication language of the soul of the universe, not the noise of the man through his voice. Now you understand more. Now you understand why and how and the reason we are developing in this direction. It is for us to take the shackles of the restriction that we comprehend what we would like to understand at the point of manifestation. When man understands this, then man does not need no messengers, because the messenger of his life is the communication between the soul and physicality at the point of manifestation. Which means where you appear in the physical dimension according to the point of manifestation, then you decide, you have understood the environment, you would like to understand the environment, and this environment has no other condition than what you had on earth, but there is no man to dictate in how you manifest yourself, because it's the point where you have decided to accept the strength field in interaction with the soul of yourself. All the messengers, all they have taught up to now is about the physicality in interaction with another physicality. Now we understand the position of the soul. We understand the soul is the creator. The physicality is not a condition to be abused or to abuse, because now you understand it's the soul of the man which is responsible for behavior of the man. Then this way, man needs no prophet as he changes planet. On this planet be Christian, on another planet, because there is another condition, become another religion X, Y or Z. The religion is the path of the belief, understanding with the interaction between the soul and the physicality of the man. And now man becomes the prophet of itself. It becomes the controller of the conduct of his soul. Then man, understanding that at what strength it needs to work, man needs no punishment. The punishment has been to control man out of the fear of his lack of understanding of his own creation. Now that we understand more, we understand there is no punishment, except that us, we deprive ourselves from receiving what can elevate us. No man likes to be poor, and it's the same. When you understand this, in the level of the soul of the man, you want to be rich, that you can give more. And this is what comes to the love of Creator. This is what we call the love of God, which means I give unconditionally and I don't take what is not mine. Then thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill is not that you don't kill another man. you don't kill another life. How come we put a man in prison for killing another man, but we slaughter animals relentlessly? Now you understand. Man has been so selfish that he only has taken the part which fits him. This was the message given to the Christ and the prophet of the past. Thou shalt not kill. Life is precious. The soul of the man or any entity cannot be touched. Now you understand how the whole holy books have to be rewritten, because we only consider man and not the others. Is there any difference now that you understand between the soul of a cow, a man, a fish, a stone, a tree, another entity in the universe? They all exist in respect to the environment of the essence of creation. Now you understand why we are progressing into the dimension that we understand, we take what we need, and according to what we give, we can receive. Then the killing stops. Then this is part of the progress of the World Peace Treaty. Now we start with man to become peaceful, and in that progress, man understands, thou shalt not kill applies to every entity in the universe and not to the man alone. Now you understand why we have established one nation, one planet. The nation is the totality of the creation of entities of the universe, not just man and the borders which have created. When you understand more about the process of the development of the knowledge of understanding one's creation, now you come close to understand the Creator, which is me within me. And as we said, as in the other teaching, that as your soul leads in the interaction with the fields of the gravitational magnetic field of the earth to the creation of physicality of the man, to manifest itself with 2 legs and 2 arms to show that he exists. Now you understand the creation of universe and universes, and what we see as galaxies and the moons and the stars and the rest of it is the interaction of the fields of the Creator, the soul of the Creator, with the totality of the fields of his environment, which leads to the manifestation of physicality of the totality of the universe. If the soul of the man interaction with the fields of the earth led to the creation of physicality of the man, is there any difference with the soul and the love of the Creator, that the field from the soul of it in the interaction with the environment has led to manifestation of physicality of itself, which is all the universe and the universes and everything else within. If we call the universe, let's say, liver, then liver has different parts. We call it galaxies. And then you have subparts. We call it solar systems. We have subparts, which is the earth, the moon, the dust, and the animals within it. Then you understand there is no difference in any dimension of the creation till you become strong enough to understand that the totality of the soul of the man is within the soul of the Creator. I made man in the image of myself. Now, the riddle of creation is unfolding for the man. Do we need to kill? Now that we redefine the first rule in the holy books. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Now we understand. It's the same across the whole creation. It's the same across in the total understanding of the totality of the knowledge of the total creation of the universe. Not for man who's been preoccupied only with himself, with where he lives and what he eats. The house of the man should not be 4 walls, but should be the universe according to the expansion and understanding of his soul and the strength of his soul as he prefers and likes to interact with. Go back to the teaching which I refer to sometimes. One hydrogen atom can fill in the whole solar system. So is the soul of the man. Is us who has accepted the restriction, and with it we have created a mayhem of wars, conflict, possession, wanting to have and wanting to possess. When we understand we already possess, is us who hasn't understood that we decide on the strength of what we would like to have, then we become detached from physicality. Because then we understand we own the totality of the physicality within us. It's us who has to mature to understand one cannot steal a gift when it's given to him as a gift, unless he's a thief by nature. The gift of creation and life is given to every man. In space, we have no clothes. In the space, we have no physical dimension of covering ourselves. It goes back to the teaching of Iranians when the Muslim invaded Iran. They said, why don't you cover your women? The Iranian answered one simple question, and many of them lost their lives because of it. We prefer to close our own eyes than covering our women. It's us who has to control ourselves, not us trying to control the others. It's us who has to understand the totality that we are part of, and our freedom of the soul is equal to the others. It's us who understands and has to comprehend that the level of understanding from now on is upon us. You were busy with energy unit, we were busy with food, cancers, and the rest. I led you through this path for you to become mature enough to find through the energy of the creation the soul of the man. And now through the soul of the man you can create anything. It's you who has to understand the strength of the soul. Your own soul. And do not compare it to the others, because it's exactly the same. It's you who has decided to manifest yourself in that level. We have to respect. We have to understand. We have to go into the total understanding, as I just said. In English we have a very good say. We say, what is good for a goose is good for a gander. Which is, what is good for a female dog is good for a male dog. What is good for the man applies to the other creatures of God too, be it the plant, be it the animal, be it another entity from the universe. We have to stop this habit of consuming packets of energy, because the physicality of the position has dictated us. If we elevate our soul in understanding the position of our soul and the strength of our soul, we become, in that process, detached from consumption of the physicality from this planet. Many are achieving this as they are understanding more and more the teaching. Many are in the path of understanding. Many are comparing and converting from the animal kingdom into the water to receive the energies. Some have already passed the step and are understanding more. It is important for us from this point on to understand the reality, to understand the totality, to not to be so narrow-minded to what it suits me in my village of earth, but what it suits my soul in the universal community and the totality of the universe. As we open the doors of the universe with the knowledge which is shared, now we are a room in a bigger house, in a bigger city, which belongs to the one nation. Earth is that one room. Now we open the door to enter the hall to see the bigger picture. First, we have to understand what we have with us, how we dress our soul, that when we open the door, we do not walk into the cold of the winter when we are wearing summer clothing. We have to start understanding the process of the creation. We have to understand that it's us who's the dictator of the physicality of us, and not blaming and allowing the others to abuse us, to tell us to fit theirs. Then, wherever we land in this universe, we don't look for a mosque, for a church, for a temple, to find someone to give us guidance. Because the guidance in the universe is one. And there's only one rule by the word of the creation and the creator. Loving and sharing and giving without expectation to receive. When you have the expectation, it means you have brought the dimension of physicality. I expect to be seen to be in this place. Now in this place I have 4 arms and 2 legs. Expectation, I want to be a millionaire, so I have to rub everybody else together to what my expectation is. The physicality of the man is the essence of the operation of his physicality from the fields of his soul. As I said before, we report, we have seen many people, many entities from other planets and UFOs. And I said many times, how many of them wear tuxedos and how many of them are in the bathing suits, or how many of them appear to us in a wedding dress? None. The frock of the man has to be the manifestation of his physicality from the strength of his soul. Then man does not need the clothes to wear to confirm his position and his standing. This has become the habit of the man. Put them on the cloth of the robe of a priest and do whatever you like. Give them the robe of the religion and abuse every soul. Give them the crown of the kingdom and abuse their physicality. When the man understands he is the king of himself and he is the priest of himself, that he decides what he possesses and is equal to the others and needs no one, because now he understands his soul is the dictator of his position in respect to the others. Man needs no religion and no kings. Then he can travel the space of universe. Because outside the boundary of a few meters of this property of land we call earth, there are no kings and there are no priests in the universe. As I've said many times, has anybody seen any churches in the space? If there was, Christ would have been busy building so many on the moon and the other planet. The same with the other prophets. So man has to learn, has to understand, does not come by meditation. It comes by comprehension of the strength and existence of his soul. I've taken you, as I've said many times, to see the fields. Now in seeing and testing, and you measured it, you made a pen and you put it, no, nothing goes to your skin, but your pain goes. Now you know there is a field which can take the pain. But what is that field? Why does it touch me that I do not feel the pain? Because it touches the strength of the entity, which I call pain, which comes from the manifestation of the level from soul of the man to the physicality point of the brain of the man. What we call, this is where we feel the pain. We recognize this strength as pain and we try to do something with it. Now we have to understand that we recognize the strength of thought. And then the deeper we think, which is the more giving we do, the closer we become to the soul of the man, to understanding the strength, and in that point we become in touch. We become to understand that we do not need even the vehicles, what we call the spaceship, to travel the space of the universe. I asked a question from a religious man some time ago. I said, when the Prophet received a message from the God, did he come in a spaceship? Or did he land on the back of a donkey? Or did he come as an enlightenment in the message from the messengers who brought the message? Those who were enlightened. He said, that time we were not there, we didn't know. I said, you follow the man. You have to know how he received it. When you go to buy a car, do you ask the man, is this car stolen? Or is it good, you paid for it? How did you get it? That I'm sure I don't want to receive a stolen goods. Then how do we allow this to happen to our path of belief? In a condition of submitting our souls into that direction. Then when we mature enough to understand we are made of the interaction of the fields of the universe, we didn't pop up suddenly in the space. The fields of the universe slowed down enough to make galaxies strength, and then it slowed down enough to make the solar system strength, then it slowed down enough to make the planet, and then the interaction slowed down enough to become the soul, the strength of the physicality of the man. Now we understand we carry the totality within us as we came from the total, from the principle, from the creator. Then can we revert back, to go back to the strength of the creator? And the answer is yes, why not? Then we don't need to do wrong. We have to be able to understand the totality. The deeper we think, as I said, does not come by meditation. It comes by understanding the reality about the creation, about the field interactions. Then we understand the totality of the knowledge of the creation. And this is where many men will come to be confused, because I have to accept that I am responsible for my own creation. I'm responsible for my own manifestation at the point of the field of strength which I would like to manifest myself. And can I accept to have 4 legs and 2 arms? And can I accept that I cannot touch nothing, but to praise the love of the creator by giving, that I can enjoy the presence of the others by receiving. Now, maybe today I opened another door in the understanding of the man, as we open the man's door into the space that he can interact with the rest of the universal community. Is not how we make a maghreb system to make some energy, to have free, because they have enslaved us, that our mentality and knowledge was not to see that we can absorb energy ourselves, that we can create the energy. We call it the aura of our body, which is the interaction of the field of the man's soul with his physicality, with the environment of the entity of the earth and the universal fields. Then we don't need to kill another entity for us to receive packages of it, instead of us knowing that I take what is freely given, but I don't take which is not mine. Then we become the true man of space. Then we become true man of this physical life. Does not matter. Wherever we lay our head is our home. Be it on Earth, be it in the galaxies, be it in planet Zeus. As I've said many times, I teach to enlighten, that you find your own path. You find your own dimension. I don't teach, because then it becomes written and it has to be followed. Any questions?
Mr. Keshe, morning.
Good morning.
This is Ralph.
From?
Texas.
Yes.
I was thinking, thank you for your teachings, by the way, all these years. In the past, this knowledge was given to a select few, and because it was believed that most people could understand this knowledge, so it was kept a secret. So you are giving it to the public today, and thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I was thinking along the lines of developing a technique or method to strengthen the soul, strengthen the emotions, so that we can be more effective in using it. I was, hello?
Carry on.
Yeah, I think you probably did that in the Mojan classes, Mohan.
The process is not teaching. The process is that you have to find the path of your own. We guide to know where the target is.
Okay.
What you're aiming at. Each one of us, as they say, all roads ends up in Rome. We all reach our soul, but depends which path we use and where we fail, that we have to learn from it. If we go the wrong way, we come back again. I took a wrong road. It's a cul-de-sac. It's the one way, or is a dead end.
Mm-hmm.
Till we don't end, till we don't learn that we have to go to the path of correct conduct, we always end up in a dead end. And then we blame the guy who put the sign wrong and they didn't do the map wrong. We don't look that I did wrong. I took the wrong path. That way, we don't blame no one. Many of us blame everybody else for what we do ourselves, and then we blame them that you did wrong because I did nothing wrong. Where I was the cause, I took the path and I failed, and I still come back and I take the same road again. Because I'm so busy blaming the others, I don't see it's me who has failed to choose the right path. Reach the soul, you don't need teaching the soul. Understand it, you don't need to copy it. There is no way I can teach you, then I have to sit here, teach the soul of the man, the cat, the dog, the fish, and then the other things. And it's too many beings on this planet, I don't have the time. We teach you, then you can teach through your soul to the animals of this planet. Considering man is part of the animal kingdom. There is no shortcut. The only shortcut is for man to understand the essence of his own creation.
Also, I was thinking along the lines of your signature drawing that you usually do. They are spiral, as it expands and widens outwards and outwards. You know, I was thinking along whether the certain points on the spiral could represent a specific strength relating to a particular emotion. And
of course, that's what I've been teaching all the time. Each emotion has a certain strength.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find the strength. You know, some people say, I don't feel no pain. Is this a path to understand that they have found out that that strength, which I call pain, does not belong to me? I do not know. I prefer not to know, because it cannot do anything to me that it can change me. That's all it says. Maybe it's a path for some people to follow, to understand.
So we have to become more attuned to or feelings and emotions, or physical body, in a sense.
No, you have to become detached from your physical body, but understand the emotion of your soul, which manifests itself in your physicality.
Right.
Go back in
sense. Every cell contains a part of that.
Of course.
Has a soul.
Yeah. Of course. If you consider a cell in your body, as, let's say, the moon, then the totality of the cell put together of liver, of heart, and everything else has led to the creation of the man, which is you. So is the same with the Creator. Then it's down the line the same. We are of the same. Any other question?
Hello, Mr. Yes.
Yes?
This is John from Arizona.
Hi, John. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, I got a couple of questions. We're doing a lot of tests now, a lot of different variations of tests with the dynamic.
Can you reduce your sound level? It's very high.
Okay. So we're doing a lot of, is that better? Is it better?
Yes. Yes, it's better. Carry on.
So we're doing a lot of different testing with the dynamic reactors, different configurations. I'm a little bit, what we're trying to do is to open up the hydrogen atoms to where they, in essence, light up and open up into the bigger fields. And we spin them at different speeds, and it seems like we've tried one ball configuration where we put all the materials in one ball. We tried 2-ball configuration. We tried 3-ball configuration, and all of them with different speeds, etc. What we're not able to get to the point of is actually compressing the hydrogen to where it can open up.
Can I give you a suggestion?
Okay.
I've seen your configurations, and I've seen the fixing point of the 4-star systems you put on the table. Start moving the systems, not creating the higher speed. Don't forget, is Maglev gravitational positioning. Your system needs to be adjusted in the distance that the interaction allows the opening of the plasma.
Okay, that makes sense because we're getting a lot of magnetic strength and not enough gravitational strength.
Yes, you do not know. You have to position it, move them, don't fix them, move them till you find a position. I explained this in one of the teachings. I explained to you in part of the private teachings. I explained to you to understand. Let me explain. When you have your cores, now you're rotating your cores with different systems, with different means, motors or whatever. Go back, and if you remember, I don't have my camera, otherwise I would have shown you. If you remember when we put the ring magnets near to each other, one magnet moves when you bring the other closer. If you could hold the magnet in its position and you bring it close, the magnet starts rotating. This is something none of you understood, and I repeat it in different shape or form. Then when that comes, you have no motors. This is how the speed of the rotation of the planet is dictated. We don't see any motors to starting anything. It's the magnetic gravitational positioning of one in respect to the other which decides and dictates the speed of the rotation. Now you created the rotation. Then this rotation itself creates field pressure on the plasma of the hydrogen which you want to travel. It's the way you charge it. When you look at in the nuclear atomic structure, you look at the proton and electron, and we call it the bandwidth, which the electron moves. If you look at it This reason for its rotation is not only coming closer and going away, because the compression on the field strength creates its rotation and the motion. Then at this point is where it releases its energy. At this point is the maximum is given, it comes back to collect more. This is never understood by the world of physics, and this is where we call it the bandwidth, and that's it. It's not. It's that this point which creates its rotation throws it away, and then it comes back and it needs more to receive from the gravitational. Here it has more gravity, here it has more magnetic field in respect to the proton. So your problem is the positioning of your reactors. These reactors have been fixed by fields, and you want to create a condition. You have to be able to bring it to the point that it creates rotation in the plasma without the motors. I've done that with demonstration very recently. I have made system to show it differently. So you are hoping by rotating. Rotation is a physical entity. There is a limit you can put by rotation. Now you have to create magnetic field compression, and you're not creating it. That's why your plasma doesn't open.
Okay, that makes sense. So,
you have reached, if you take your cores, just fix your cores as they are, but leave them loose enough. But you create a condition of rotation in one, and then you'll see the others are rotating. We've seen this. If you look at those MAGRAV units, which the box where the gases were rotating 2 or 3 years ago, people were showing. Nobody understood. When you get a gas in your hand, and you see a gas is moving to the top, and a bottom gas still there, especially when you produce zinc oxide and CO2, zinc moves up. If you introduce slightly another material next to this, you start seeing your zinc rotating. Because the field pressure between these two pushes field release towards this. And nobody has understood. We don't need motors to create rotation of the cores, but you're looking at the physical rotation, but there's a limit. 2,500 RPM is the maximum, maybe 3,000. Then you have to go into the essence of rotation of the fields within the GANs. We've shown this many times. This is how we managed to create with a constant. We didn't change the speed of rotation. We just built up, and we went to 129 Tesla. This should have been understood 2 years, 3 years ago, and nobody has understood this. Then, when you go in that level, the essence of the emotion becomes controller of it. Then you can control the speed of rotation by your emotion, because you come to the strength, because you created this material and you always carried some amino acid in it through the control of the man. Very simple. You fix your reactors and you're trying to compress. You go to 100,000 RPM, it doesn't make any difference, because you are not creating field compression, gravitational magnetic field.
okay, that's a big help.
Now you understand. You should be nearer to flight system with your system. I watched this beautiful what you set up. But now you have to move till you find, don't look for the rotation of the motor, look for the rotation of the gas.
Okay.
In your email you sent me, the text you sent me today or yesterday, you asked that you see that all the materials go to the back, to the wall of the GANs, to the wall of the core. If you put enough of it in, saturate the system with, let's say, 30% of each, look which layer starts rotating. When you bring the system together, then it gives you strength. You have to start calibrating, and then you find motion no time. It's the field charge which you have to look for. One of your reactors or bottom reactors has to become a field charge.
Has to be, what are you calling it?
It's a gravitational magnetic field charge of the system. There is a charge system. If you reach it, the earth will repel you. to the point where you can create gravity. Many times when you want to take off from a ground point, from the 0 point, you don't need to change because you have nothing to compare to lift. You have to create a field charge, which means you use your top core as a field charge in comparison to the 3 base and your surrounding rotating cores. And then at that point, because the field, in a way, if you look at it, your bottom 3 becomes negative and your top 1 becomes positive, which is a giver. Then you have to create a strength field, which in respect to the Earth gravitational magnetic field of the Earth catapults you off, and then the system settles itself for a space position. The space travel, takeoff from the 0 point, usually can be done. It's one of the easiest way to do it is creating that condition of field discharge or potential difference in positive and negative in respect within your system and Earth gravitational magnetic field system. Where, for example, your system becomes the proton, electron, and the Earth is the proton, where it, as I just explained, it pushes you away to a point. At that point, you even travel with this build up to the speed of light, and then at a point when the inertial field forces of the Earth with gravitational magnetic field of the Earth become balanced with the atmosphere, then you build into the speed of light to travel. Within the Earth, it's very hard to travel within the speed of light because the atmosphere is so thin. It's only a few hundred, 10, 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers maximum. So try to look inside, and I've said this many times, to see how your core rotates, and then you can step up into motion and lift. Because when you've gone into the matter state, you're dealing with the inertia field forces, gravitational magnetic field. You have to push yourself away from inertial gravitational magnetic field by catapulting yourself off the ground in a positive negative direction, if you understand. And then you pick up your speed and your position.
Okay. One other question. So if we are, well, one of the things that we're trying to do also is to build a spaceship with our thoughts. And during the week, it was mentioned, and I found it very odd, that when entities go aboard another spaceship, that their soul is given over to the spaceship, that they might all travel jointly. So
not given to the spaceship, you give it to another soul to carry. This is a very well practiced system. You become passenger. It's just like you give your body to a pilot to take you to a place.
For me, it's like, I don't know how you would continue to operate without your soul, but...
No, you can operate very easily. You have a soul because the physicality can't operate if there is no soul. You speak on the soul level, not on the physical. Depends how much you go into the understanding of the totality of the knowledge.
Well, this is where my question comes up. So are we able to take an aspect of our soul and load it into, I'll call it reactors, that we create in our mind, and put one aspect...
Can I, just before you go further, explain, is your reactor carries the strength of your soul, or you think it does?
So if we're creating it, yes, it can. That's my thinking.
You have no problem.
So we can put an aspect of our soul, not just emotions, into these imaginary reactors, and that
you got to. Can I answer you, John? Can I just say something? Is your soul imaginary?
No, it's not.
So you don't put it somewhere imaginary. You have to understand this is part of where I put it.
So I'm talking about an aspect of our soul, a part of our soul,
Well, you want to send an electron instead of the whole package of the neutron?
What I'm trying to do is to get my spaceship, my quote imaginary spaceship, to be able to light up and carry the energy of all.
Yeah, then it would only light up within you at the level you understand. Do you understand what I mean? Nobody else will see it, but you understand it, and accordingly you understand the space you have created for its what I call elevation.
Okay. I'll think
Try
on that.
the system, you understand. Try your system till you see the field force interaction. I made a system with Armin past couple of weeks, and past week or so. It's very nice, but haven't managed to show how he operates. Hopefully next week when we are together we can show him where you can rotate dynamic reactors from fields, and if you position it further or closer to a certain number of magnets, you will see that the magnets will start rotating. We have already built it, Armin just finished it. Then we see we don't need the motors. We need the field forces, what we call, let's say, the soul of the system from one reactor, that in the strength reduces enough that rotates the magnet in the matter state. This is how the field forces of the sun creates a rotation within the structure of the field forces of the gravitational magnetic field of the Earth itself, where the gravitational magnetic field of the Earth interaction means the rotation of the body of the planet, where the interaction of the fields of the system of the Earth, what we call atmosphere, with the sun creates the rotation of the Earth around the sun. The interaction of gravitational magnetic field of the fields, internal fields of the Earth creates the rotation of the Earth. Then the interaction, the balance interaction of between these two and the sun creates the rotation of the motion of the Earth within the solar system. Then the interaction of gravitational magnetic field of our sun with the galaxy dictates the rotation of the sun, the solar system, in the galaxy. This is how motion is created. You have to have another one to dictate the motion of the other, while itself has its own rotation. This is what has not been understood, and I've been trying to teach this so hard for years. Then you'll find you can move in any dimension according to the strength you create within the system internally. That its interaction with the other creates it. This is how many times in the teachings we explained. They said Venus is rotating clockwise because a meteorite hit it. No, the Venus rotates clockwise because the internal gravitational magnetic field of itself has got a balance which dictates positive rotation or clockwise rotation. Or the field string from outside which enforces on it because of the closeness to the strong field of the sun has dictated the field force intrusion, which means the field force between the sun and the Venus not only has allowed the rotation within the solar system, now the field is stronger, that it has to become opposite rotation, that it can find its position and then dictates the rotation. We've seen this in the reactor testing 10 years ago when we are explained even in Tehran when we ran the first reactors. Your inner core stops and it starts rotating the opposite way. Now you understand. This gradually the science, as people understand more, opens up. This is what I said a couple of teachings ago, that man has not understood the field interaction between the gravitational and magnetic field, that it creates the energy. This is how you get the clouds getting charged. That's how you create flow of the air on this planet. Is the interaction of the fields. Man should look, when you say such atmospheric condition, look about the position of the field inside the core of the system, in interaction with its mass, magma, and its inertia, which is a solid part of it, or the matter part of it. Then we can predict thousands of years ahead, if you understand it, how the weather is going to be. The way we predict this is going to be the Earth will be in September in this position in the solar system, and in October in that position. We got to understand deeper the knowledge.
Thank you. You gave me a lot to think about.
Oh, I hope you don't think. Act on it. You'll see it.
Oh, we're always acting. We're doing a lot. More than you realize.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much, John. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Cash.
Hi, Azar. I was waiting for you. Hopefully we see you in Tehran by the look of it.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cash. Mr. Cash, last time I asked you a couple of questions, and I usually go and I listen to it a couple of times, because sometimes I have to dissect your answers to see, pick up the points. So as I was going through my date, information popped in my head. Am I correct to say that everything is a field? We swim in the field, and if I give it a number, say a banana has a field of 10. If I create a field of 10 in my hand, I can get a banana. You
get a field of the banana. Then you have to decide if you want to make it to physicality of banana.
Absolutely. Then if I want to have a ball of gold, which is 5, if I create a field of 5, I can get a ball of gold. So if you come to the emotion, I can give it a number 2. Say love is 100, joy is 50, anger is 15, and then we have the physicality emotion and then soul emotion. So for example, if you and I are standing on a situation and our relationship to the situation is the same and both are joyful and our number is 50 both, suddenly with the situation we're observing, you get angry, you drop to 15, I stay still joyful. So if I have 35 field and you borrow from me, you can still stay joyful because you come to 50. So there's no situation in life should make us angry or sad or anything. It's all about the field.
Congratulations.
Okay. Thank you. And then now I was thinking.
This is let me explain. I would love to expand a little bit on this, Azarjan.
Thank you.
This is why there is no conflict in the universe. There is no war. There is no anger. As the man receives, the entity receives as much as he needs, that it satisfies his balance. Carry on.
Okay, so I was thinking, I'm not sure about this. I'm thinking the soul only has love, which is 100. It cannot have anything else because it's the soul. Soul, if the soul didn't have love, it couldn't go to the universe. The only thing soul carries is love, nothing else. Soul doesn't have anger, soul doesn't have...
Yes, but wait. You touched something very important. I'm going to explain. You're right, but let me explain something to you very interesting. This is part of the teaching I didn't want to do. You put it on, I'm going to tell you. This is your soul. This is your brain. As I explained. Soul is 100% giver all the time. It's the physicality of the brain in a condition of physical earth which creates the strength which we call it anger. I just explained this. So your soul always gives that 100. It depends where It's what strength you catch. This to you is anger. This to me is anger. Because I understood more, I came closer, more detached. I do not get angry with that. To another person, this is the anger, because it's become more detached from the physical boundary of their existence. So what is anger to me, which I understand? Anger, it means I do not want to accept. I do not want to take. It's a big difference. But if you look, the soul, both souls of me and you, radiating the same 100% all the time. It's the filter position we put on it. It's the way we have accepted. I explained this very recently in respect to child abuse. In the West, we say 18 years old is the point of maturity. In Islam, they marry a 9-year-old. And the Islamic world has accepted this as acceptable, where in the others, we do not. Where by this we accept, because it's the way we have accepted the condition. By this we don't. It's how, what it means to us to be the point of acceptance. In how we feel it. And what we have accepted become limit of acceptance. How some people, to them, crime is normal. They rob every day and they kill every day. They're called whatever you want to call them. To the others, they go to the other end of the world to pass an ant that you might not put your foot on it, that it might harm it. It's what we have accepted in the understanding of comprehension of the feeling.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh. Mr. Kesh, now I understand this part. Now I have a new question. You were just talking about we, each soul, each of us have to do our own conduct. If we go to the wrong road, we shouldn't, we shouldn't blame other people. My question is, there are thousands of people in Syria get bombed. They're not doing anything wrong. We have a wrong conduct bombing them. So what's up with that? I mean, they're not doing.
Go on and speak to the ones who are taking the children to Bahamas for holidays by selling those bombs.
So
ask what is wrong with that.
Yeah, but if those people complain, their complaint is right, because we are doing a bad thing to them. Then they're sitting at their home peacefully, and if they complain.
Yes, but this is what we set up, this one nation, one planet. This is what we call, I call this murder by proxy. Is not the guy who shoots the bomb or releases the bomb. You have to go back to the guy who made the bomb, and now he had a manager who got paid for producing more bombs, and he got bonus for it, and he sits in a holiday home or in a beautiful place on the beach somewhere. Because he produced. This is what the man has to understand. It's not the guy who released the bomb. Now we understand the man who got the commission even to make the bomb, the man who thought of the bomb. Now we understand their soul is responsible for the physicality. So why there is so much cancer in the United States? Why there is so much problem with people in the United States? Ask how many souls they've killed in past 50 years. Because now we understand. It's not that the guy dropped a bomb on people sitting at home in Syria. It's the bomb, the guy who got the commission manufactured it in Arizona or California or wherever. And then the man who sold the meat to the man to eat, to have the holiday, because he knows, hello sir, how is the work? You're a director of such a bomb manufacturing. I know, I feed. I'm responsible for it. This is what has to be understood. This is why we support the Chinese government. A peaceful act. They understood, they understand. And we see all the problems which comes from the United States. All the European countries will promote war and guns. They are paying. Look at the infestation in these societies. Because now they're collectively responsible for their act, because now we understand you put a magnet on the table and you throw a magnet in the middle. See how the other magnets jump out and far away from distance. They go separated because they take a distance from the reality of the position of the center. This is what we have to learn. And then no man will even think to make a bullet, let alone the metal that it might be used for the bullet. I've received a massive contract to sell metals to a gun manufacturer. I'm responsible for the soul which dies in Syria. And I pay through my children, through cancer, through everything which happens. We have to understand we are responsible for collective conduct of the end product. I hope I answered you that. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Kesh. That was correct. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Kesh. It's Rui speaking from Portugal.
Yes, good morning or good afternoon.
I'll have a question to clarify some points here that...
you have to explain who you are, please.
I told already, maybe not listen, not loud enough. I'm Rui.
You're a member of the Universal Council.
Exactly. And I represent the Portuguese language.
Thank you very much.
And my question, it's in the draw that it's here on the brain before we show our proximity. It's from the soul, the different, the thoughts, the joint, the emotions, and the pain. And I understood already there is difference between emotion of the soul and the emotion of the physicality. The thing is, my concern, it's that the veil that the manipulation of the emotions put on the light of the soul. I think this is a problem of the human being here. So it's been manipulated, is light not to show. And it's manipulated through the mind I call thoughts. And the thoughts, the mind is manipulated, through hypnosis, for instance, and many different influences. So I'd like to explain us how that works and how you can be free of that for our soul be shining completely. Thank you. It's my question.
Thank you very much. You have to understand the position of your soul and your physicality in respect to the field, gravitational field, the strength of the earth is irrelevant, has a relevance. And how you have managed to position your soul in respect to the physicality of the earth gravitational magnetic field. We see some nations are peaceful because in that area they feel the strength of the mixture composition of the magrav of the central core and the inertia of a matter part creates a condition which is more towards the peaceful emotion part of the more joyful part or the love part of our existence. Or the materials which used and consumed by the man in that position elevates, feeds the strength to be more of this level, which means more of the energy is absorbed at this level in the brain of the man. So now we understand, as I explained earlier on in teaching, our soul interaction, our physical manifestation. In essence, the soul is a giver, but in interaction, the field environment and what we consume in the physical part of us, which affects the existence of the emotion in the soul of the man, in the brain of the man. You got to realize something very simple. This is the body of the man, I just explained. This is, let's say, we consume, let's say, a lot of food which is very high in, let's say, magnesium, or let's say zinc. Our body, the physical part, has his own emotional field strength of the zinc. But our physical brain has the same, which is of the stronger. So as you see, our food affects our emotion in our body. It's not that it goes there, it embeds in the physical part, which is interaction affects the part which is connected to the brain part, which is from the center of the soul of the man, which radiates out, that sits the soul of the man. As we become more giver, the closer we become into receive. So, how we see why the French are so romantic? Look at their way they eat. Why they always explain between Pakistan and India. It's the same land. Now it's the food which brings a different dimension of bigger packages, more, less energy. Just 1 second, please. I have to answer it all. Just 1 second. This is what we got to understand. This is the level of the position. This is what we have to comprehend today, because we never explained this before, because we were not mature enough to understand. Now as we teach, we understand more. If you look at the India and Pakistan, they are the same blood they came from. In different path of belief, they consume, they use, they apply different way of food, that the energy of the physical part of it affects their emotion. Which means, in fact, if you look at it, is what they put in the physical part, which is this part is your gaseous part, this part is your matter physical part of the earth, because now it has a blood. Then you understand what happens. This moves to embrace that. So the whole lot has not been understood. This is us who have to understand the progress in knowledge, in understanding more of, and being able to use it to elevate our own soul, to elevate, to absorb, to become more closer to our soul. That we come closer. The soul strength stays for thousands of years, millions of years, the same was as created. It's us who elevates ourselves to become closer, and as we become closer, the physicality at this level becomes irrelevant. When we become mature enough to take into space, then the gravitational field of the earth is becoming irrelevant. Then we become detached from this part, which is connected to the earth. We more work on the physical part when we are on this planet, and we work less when we go in another dimension. Which means when we work in the soul area, which is the gaseous part, is less matter strength in the level of the matter of the state of the body of the man. And then we become what we become in the space. This is how the food we eat creates the interaction with the soul we have. Weaker feeds the stronger. So now the stronger, which is the soul of the man, has to use part of his energy to feed the weaker part. Meat is weak, but more of it. vegetation are much stronger, but at the strength of the soul of the man. This is what we have to understand. Then we can adjust.
Thank you, Mr. Cash. Can I go further again to the question?
Yes.
It's, I saw the draw that you put a degrees in the brain that goes to the extreme, to the center of where is the soul of the man, and it was, you wrote pain, and then joy, and then love, then thoughts. So in this order, and you explain it, I think, well. My concern is how you can bring the light of the soul through this path, through thoughts, because our thoughts are manipulated through food, as we show it, sure, and many things, and through our mind, different ideas, things that the environment put on us. So what you can do to liberate the veil that it's between the soul and our thoughts, and that kinds of manipulation to free the man. If besides the food, what else?
Let me explain it in a different way, collectively. If we call this the field which emanates from the soul of the man, then if we place the brain of the man in it, then we place in it the physicality. If this is your ear, and this is your ear, and this is your skull, this part of it is your upper arm, this part of it is your fingers and hand, this part of it is your emotion of different strength, this part of it is closer to totality. Our thoughts are very much, if you look at it, is the strength field of the totality. But because it touches our soul, we have access to the total. Then we understand now that even the fields of the earth has interaction with us, with our emotion, with our feeling, with our souls, field radiated. Then we understand this can be moved in any direction. This is important for us to understand. Then we understand that thought covers the spectrum, not just one. I hope I managed to answer, if I could. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Kesh. I just want to know how to free the manipulation of the thoughts of the man from exterior parts of him without his will. That's all.
We have Eric with his hand up. I think he might have a question. Eric, do you want to open your mic there? Or I can help you with that. You're unmuted. Go ahead.
Hello, it's Eric from Denmark. Hi, Mr. Kess. You asked me to return back regarding the heating system. And I've tried different things. And firstly, I can say that the Swedish house, there was not bags in all the rooms. And I was there 1 week ago, and the temperature inside the house was, air temperature inside the house was around 19 degrees and Celsius. And then I added some more bags to the last rooms and also to the cellar. And while I was there, the temperature rose to 21 degrees Celsius. And Paul explained to me that part of this temperature rise was due to my own field. The reason it works there is probably because there is an energy spot 4 meters from the house. And this is what Paul calls energy in the environment. But as I added more bags to the remaining rooms, it worked fine. And it was very nice for me to see that it has worked without my presence. And it works without any copper plates, nano-coated copper plates, and it works without me spraying all the house with the CO2 cans, which I have done at home in Denmark. And I also did this test you asked me for, where I increased the amount of CH3 liquid plasma water. And the result is quite strange to me, because within some minutes, the temperature rises about 1 degree, and then it goes back again. Maybe a little bit more than it was, but almost back to the original temperature. And so I'm sure there is a good explanation for that, but I'm not sure I can give it. So what is your say on that?
I wasn't there. I fell out, so I don't understand. I didn't get your question.
How much did you get?
I didn't hear you coming on at all.
Okay. So, hi, Mr. Kess. I'm Eric from Denmark. We were talking about the heating system, and you asked me to come back with a test with a CH3, adding CH3 to a room. And the result from that is that when I increase the amount of CH3 liquid plasma in a room, the temperature after some minutes rises about 1 degree, and then it goes back again. Maybe not fully back.
Can you explain to me where you added the CH3? How did you add the CH3 in the bags or in the core? Is it dynamic or a static?
No, it's static. It's just some bags, plastic bags with a liquid GANS water. Liquid plasma water. Yeah.
The temperature after a while came back down to the same as before, more or less.
Yeah, maybe a little bit higher, but not much.
But have you tried to test if, for example, something for us to learn, if you go half a meter further out, has the dimension of the field has expanded? Now, if before you were covering, let's say, 10 meter, now are you covering 10.5 meter or 11 meter with the same temperature? Do you understand?
Yes,
Then
yes, I understand.
this will be very interesting if the temperature, this is just for us, you're testing, so you're our guinea pig, you reported it's your baby. So if you can explain to us, if this is the room and you put your bag here, and let's say before you always consider this is only you consider measurement of the temperature inside the room. Now has it increased to another half a meter more? Because now the whole of half a meter is at 22 degrees or 23 degrees. This is what we got. This is the expansion of the field. It'll be interesting to see did you change it in all the rooms or in only one room?
Here I just changed. I changed in 2 rooms actually, but you have to know. You have to know that I have 4 bags of the liquid plasma, and they are situated at each wall. So if I go outside, I go outside the house, except for, yeah, when we have the house, it's there's 2 rooms in the width of the house. So in the kitchen.
Can I? Yes. Well, let me. I always go back to this. It's very interesting what you're doing. Becoming more or less end of summer into winter. Well, it'll be interesting. You keep these bags here, and when it comes to snow time, where would you see the melting of the snow outside?
Yes.
You're dealing with a field, not with matter where you put a bag. Is how much the field is covered.
Yes.
It'll be interesting if you let us know. Okay, now you increased it by, and then after a while it came to the same. But did the field expansion expanded from 10 meters to 11 meters?
I would expect that.
Yeah. So now you state 22 is a balanced temperature. Yeah? Or 23. Yeah. So with the walls of the house and everything else, this field will stay at 22, 23. We know this. Now you confirm it. But what will be interesting as the winter comes, if you keep on adding CH3 more to the wall side or to the whole house, would you push the barrier of the 22 degrees further out towards the outside wall of the house?
I think I would. Maybe I should try to actually increase the amount of liquid plasma in one end of the house and not in the rest. So in the living room here at the northern end of the house, if I say firstly, I could use the special ganses from Paul to make even stronger fields. And then I could
what
maybe...
What ganses are you using? Sorry, what ganses are you using?
The ganses I'm using right now has been produced by Eva. But I have ganses I got from Paul that he made with his mind.
Yeah, but what are these in ganses? Which ganses are we talking about?
We are talking about the 4 basic ganses, the CuO,
CH3, COU, CO2, and
zinc.
ZNO. Yeah.
Yes. And I have considered also to try Paul's ganses, and maybe I should try here in the living room to replace the bags with Eva's ganses to Paul's ganses, and maybe try 3 to 4 times more volume of the liquid plasma, because I guess that will also increase the fields.
let us know. But don't forget, you have a factor. It'll be very interesting to know. Is it warmer on the ground level or is it colder on the first floor?
It's a little colder on the first floor. Maybe it's just approximately 1 degree colder at the first floor than the second floor. And you have to know that my house
is colder on the ground floor than the upper floor.
Yes, a little bit. You know, you have to know my house is on one side, it is 2 stories, and on the other side, it is 1 story. So part of the lower rooms are cellar rooms, and the others are just freestanding as in a normal house on the ground. But if I measure the temperature on the floor of the lower level, there I have about 22 degrees on the floor. And as I said last time, I have Magrav at the northern end of the house, and this effect of the heating goes on in the southern part of the house, in the first floor, on the cellar floor. It's I think this is amazing that because before I got the Magrav, I had a very weak heating effect. I felt there was something, maybe it gave a little effect, little more temperature in the house that I should expect to have without heating. But as soon as I put in the Magrav, then the heating started working.
This is what we see. We are developing technologies for this, for commercialization. Because yes. 22 degrees is the pleasure field of the human, what we are comfortable to work with. What we're looking at, like in Ghana, in producing materials that we don't need to feel 20, what they call it, 30 and 40 degrees inside. We can isolate ourselves from it by using different magravs or different ganses. We know it can be done, and if you look at the history of the man, we could live in the log houses, or we live in houses with a straw. It feels warm because the structure at that time, when it gets wet, in so many ways, it releases or works with the gans of the material or the wood than a brick house, a combination. So what we're trying to do, instead of putting in straws, we are mixing into the gans material, which allows the transfer of energy and the balance system. We've done some tests with this in Ghana, and it's a very interesting data which is coming up. With more research is needed to do, so we can create conditions that the temperature inside always stays around about 20-22. In a way, we introduce a dynamic straw, if you call it, into the structure of the house. Pardon?
Yeah, this is very interesting, and this is valid for new houses. But as you probably know, I also working on something that will probably be working in a week to help existing houses, just with bags and this little thing. And it will be very interesting to see how that will work.
What will be interesting to see is if you add some more zinc into it, how the emotion of the people in the house changes too. Or do they become more lovable to each other? Because now you actually put the zinc in the house, they don't need to have oysters.
Yeah, I think it will be very beneficial for a more harmonic life to have some zinc in the neighborhood. No doubt about it. And
I know, but I would love to know how they react.
Yeah, I will. I will report back. But I can tell you another thing that I have started on Paul's cure for losing weight. And so far, I'm not so successful. I have lost some weight, but Paul says he has never tried it on a person at my age. And then he asked me to breathe from zinc. So I made a simple bottle with some tubes and put in some of his universe zinc liquid
I'm going
plasma.
to give you a tip. I'm going to give you a tip. For it might work on some people, but I'll give you the result of scientific detail with it behind it.
Thank you.
You can lose weight by eating more, but you have to know how you eat, what you eat, the way you eat. I've explained this in the Chinese food. When you cook with a high temperature, I said we've all been nano makers for a long time. Chinese have been in nano business from the beginning of the time when they created the wok. And then they added salt to it, they created gas. When you eat the food, you automatically receive the food is already digested, already in a position that the stomach wants to do, to boil, to create, whatever you call it, the enzymes and everything else. The energy is used by the body from, you already done a pre-gansing in the pot. So now when you eat the food, the body has to work to get rid of this food, because now it's received all the energy it needs. So now you lose weight because of what you eaten. This is one of the reasons Chinese are slim. Unless they consume in the wrong way, you see the Chinese eat huge amount of food. I say, how can they eat the same thing so much lunchtime, dinner time, and breakfast? And the whole process is because when they cook, when they use a wok, which is a high temperature, the vegetable or the meat touches the pan, it's already nano-coated. Then they put the water and they put some salt in it. It goes that short time to a rapid production of GANs. So now it's a free energy. The minute they eat the food, the energy is received. Doesn't need to go through a digestion process in a way. Now the carrots, the meat, or whatever you've eaten, now the body has to work to get rid of it, because it's received the energy. It's a natural process. So now you lose weight, you use energy, negative energy. Chinese food, in so many essences, is healthy because of this, and nobody ever understood. I've said many times, I've explained this. So in a way, it's like I explained, if you eat every day quarter of watermelon, the body takes the amount of sugar which you need from it. The rest of it has to work to get rid of it. You lose weight. It's a negative energy after a certain limit of weight. The same thing with the Chinese food. The same thing is when you add zinc oxide to the CH3, it satisfies the bottom. And then you can imagine you walk in and your wife just walks towards you. Hello, darling, where are you? Because you have satisfied the emotional part which you need. Or you go home and say, I'm so happy now. So I come out, I get so angry, or I'm stressed. Because in the house you receive the fields you need. I'm looking into this development for a long time. We understand it fully. So the hunger, you have to understand why. It works on some, it doesn't work on some, because the process, you look at the obesity in the Western world, obesity in people. We walked away from the natural process of what we have been brought up to do. You see obesity, higher fat people in China coming a lot, or in other countries, because the salt content creates a condition. The amount of salt they put in the food, it creates a condition that it forces creation of bags for the salt to hold the water, because the body might one day need salt or sodium in the blood and the condition of the stomach of the man. Because our body works in a salt condition, it's not an acidic condition. So it needs salt to hold for the future. For it, it absorbs protein that it can create a sac to hold it as a water. It doesn't hold it as solid. It holds it as a liquid GANs of the salt. So now that leads to obesity. It brings to the fatter and fatter condition. Our emotion is stored inside the salt strength of the body, which means we get fatter when we get stressed, because it's the field strength is connected to the amino acid of the salt strength of the body of the man. It's very important to understand the process. If you change the cold content, you'll find out everybody loses. But if you look, if you've been in certain countries, you never see salt and pepper on the table unless you ask for it. In the Western world, it has to be on the table. In most of the countries, you don't even see it in some countries, because the body is adjusted to that way of, and you cannot put the weight on. You want to lose weight, understand the process. It's not that if I eat Chinese food, I lose weight. Understand how the food is cooked and what is put in it, that it doesn't substitute to that. In the Western world, Chinese food, they add a lot of starch into it because it's got to be sticky and gluey, where we don't see that much in the original way. The heat creates a GANs nano coating immediately. You want to lose weight, there are many ways to do to make your food negative process, or satisfy the need of the emotion. You'll find out the body does not need, there is a specific salt in the body of the man which connects with emotion, which connects to the amino acid to hold on to it, that it makes you the sacs of the fat. The salt emotion is a very specific, and is controlled directly to the zinc oxide. Salt of zinc is connected directly to the emotion of the man. And nobody up to now has managed to make it, because it only is created inside the body of the man in a gravitational magnetic field, the strength of the body, which is a sealed containment of physicality of the fields. Can we give time to Paul to come in? He asked to be here after 11 o'clock. Sorry, to Klaus. Is Klaus there?
Klaus asked. Yes, he's here. Klaus Dieter, do you hear?
I sent him a message a few minutes ago to ask him if he's ready to present, but let's see if he's able to talk.
I'm here.
Oh.
I'm here. Moment.
Hi.
I stopped. Hello, Mr. Cash. Hello, Rick. Hello, Klaus, all together.
How are you? Are you still in Austria?
Yes. I'm
okay.
Today, but I can present when you want.
Okay, can you go ahead, present it to us? Have you got your things ready?
Yes.
Okay, I stop sharing. You come in, please.
Thank you.
First of all, Klaus, explain who you are, what you do, that people understand, and it's on record, please.
Okay, I'm a scientist for 30 years. My profession is to rebuild water and soil, and also we make special projects for big companies for the health side, for the people who work in these companies, and we have very good results the last 25 years. And now we work, the last 20 years and the last 5 years more and more with scan techniques from the Russian space program. And this scan technology can show how the GANs works on the body. At first, we make some studies and put small pages with GANs on acupuncture points and measure them, the people before and after. And we see incredible results with this tuning up system for the meridians. And so I can show how this system works. And we can also show how the GANs works of the biofunctional system from the body. At first, this is a small PDF. You can see this?
Yes, we can see it. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, I switched my microphone off that you can speak. So
okay.
carry on, please.
Thank you. EQL scanning is a computer-based bioenergetic health system for analysis and information medicine. And it has two expert systems. And with these expert systems, we can measure all the vibration patterns from the information framework from the human body, also the biomagnetic things. And this system shows us 250 different parameters for the biofunctional things. And we measure this in only 1 or 2 minutes. Before, with the old systems, we measured 1 to 2 hours, and it was very complicated to study this. And now it's for everyone easy to show when we change things. This is the device, a small device, and you need a computer, fix it up, and there are 2 electrodes for the head and 1 sensor for the hand. And you see me as a proband sitting. And after the analysis, we can show this in different pictures, and we see, is this in the norm? Is somebody too much, or is somebody needed? And for the organs, for the vitamins, for the enzymes, for many, many things you can show in 2 minutes. And now we start this. A friend of me has the international rights for selling this, and we prepare this. And now we begin to study with this scan technology all the things what we do with the GANs. Okay, that's from my side. Any questions, please?
What does this mean? What does it mean? What can you explain to us? What can you measure with GANs?
We can measure the you have a biofunctional level in your body, and when you eat something, or you drink something, or you make different applications at the body, we can show. We can show the difference before and after. Here on this page, you see the vitamins. And we make a test with a proband in Austria, and we give them 2 small patches with CH3 on the acupuncture point for lung 1 from the traditional Chinese medicine. And after 5 minutes later, we measure the proband again, and we see that the vitamin level has changed. Also, other biofunctional parameters have changed. And so we can show and look what happens when we work with GANs on the body.
Does it increase it? Does it decrease some? Or do we see if you put the GANs of zinc, for example, do we see an increase in the zinc body?
It's a modulation. It brings from higher in the middle and also when you have less, brings it in the middle. It's called modulation system.
Yeah, but what do we see when we use an acupuncture point? Let's say if you put the GANs of zinc oxide.
This proband has less on different vitamins, and we give him the CH3 on the lung, and then this vitamins was exactly in the norm.
You got to explain more. You're a scientist. You're a layman.
Okay. Every input on the biophysical system on the people changes dynamically every situation. When you eat someone, the biofunctional thing changes. The stomach, different things have to work, and we can show what works and how it works.
Can we with this see the effect of materials on different part of the body?
Yes.
I mean, if we let's say we use zinc oxide, can we see where it affects in the arm or in the liver?
Yes, we can see this. And in the next months, we have to study this and have to test some people and to show what kind of material on what point brings the change.
Okay, can I go a step further? What about what we're just talking about before in respect to putting a GAN's bag of zinc oxide in the room, which now we don't use acupuncture, but we use the environment. Can we see if there is a change? Can you measure this kind of thing?
Yes, we show this in the factories when we change the room quality. This was with other things, with minerals. And we have seen that the changes to measure. Yes, we can see this. When we have running a small reactor with zinc oxide, and we measure people before, and then he comes in the room and we let them sit for 15-20 minutes, and then we measure him again, so we can show what is the difference.
What is the difference?
We begin now to study these things. We have many studies with other materials, and now we begin to study this with the GANs.
What is with other materials? What's the scientific data you come up?
I can show you this in the next presentation, what I make the last 25 years with different companies. When Dr. Brille is back in Austria, we prepare this and show and bring a good presentation about different studies what we make with the GANs and with the room quality when we have run different reactors.
The original when we met you, you were supposed to make a system for us that we could understand the strength of, let's say, CO2, that we can say this material is CO2.
Yeah.
Or this material is zinc oxide or percentage of. How far are we with that equipment?
This is ready. I use this for more than also 20 years.
So you can tell, I mean, you have it tested with the GANs.
Yeah.
That we can tell us, okay, this is the GANs, what level of GANs is in the mixture. Because you're supposed to make a camera with it or video with it that you could scan it and we could see it.
The crystallization, what I normally, yes, crystallization, yes. We have to know what kind of GANs you want to measure, and we can build it up in the lab and can show it.
Are we at a position where we can give a portable unit to people that at home they see what they produce, or in the laboratories they see what they produce?
You need a very clean room with
no problem. Yeah. Because we are negotiating with the measurement companies around the world.
Yeah.
that they want to see a system, if we can develop that, for example, people can send a material to a lab and say, I've made this. What is it, a gas of CO2 or a zinc oxide or whatever?
Yes,
If,
but the simplest thing is to measure this with a gas chromatometer or a spectrum analyzer. We have something of these devices, but it's not so cheap. It's a little bit expensive.
what is a little bit expensive?
The measurement method for gas
How much
chromatometer.
will it cost?
I think 30 to 50,000.
So we can measure gases that we can send the material and say this is the gas or it's not a gas or whatever. This is what we're looking for.
I think the Atom Institute of Ghana can also measure this. I think they have gas chromatographs.
No, we don't want to do that. We're talking about measuring gases. That is something we can do, because I remember you said you can produce such a system.
Yes, for the
small
visualization.
camera.
This system is ready, but the other systems we have in Austria an institute, and I send them the probes, and they make this for me.
Okay, so we can meet shortly and discuss it, how to do it.
Yes, when Klaus is back in Austria, we can fix this all. Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you also. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Klaus. Bye-bye. Trying to just seeing a message in the background. We have Herbert in
South Sudan
University. Is he available? He's giving a lecture there in the university. We've seen his
Yes, yes, he's in.
Is he lecturing or has he finished lecturing in the university?
He's still lecturing. He just wrote, Mr. Kesh. He also sent a picture half an hour ago. I sent it to Rick. Maybe, Rick, you could show it.
Sure, yep.
But his bandwidth is very bad there, so I don't know if he hears us currently.
Rick, Raymond, we can see your picture. You're on your laptop. You want to go out and come back in again? Okay. This is from the lecture in the university.
Yes, this is a picture he sent me half an hour ago, and he's also on the panelist, I see. Herbert, can you hear us?
I'll try to unmute him and see what we get.
If the lecture is still running.
Hello?
Hello? Yeah, this is here.
He's got a problem with the bandwidth.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me? This is Herbert.
Yes, Herbert, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Your work in South Sudan. What is this lecture about?
Yeah, this lecture is actually, we are on live online, listening into your lecture with mainly some members of the core team who have attended the workshop, and mainly students from the Catholic University here. All the presentations, because for some was too difficult to understand for the first time. So I did then some, so that they have easier understanding of your teaching for the next time.
Hello?
Yes, did you hear me?
Yes, yes, you're coming broken through, but it's okay, no problem.
Yeah, sorry.
Could you give us some more background to the students? What's the background they are from engineering?
Which students are here? Engineering, no, not engineering. Yeah, different education, so special sciences.
You see, the whole purpose of this kind of
we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
We cannot. Yeah, now we can hear you.
Yeah. The purpose of these teachings you do
Yes, we
on
can
video,
hear you.
yeah, the message is trying to keep these brains in Africa and becoming assets of the nation. This is what is the problem. And we support works like you to keep the nation's assets, which is human resources, back in the nation. And that's what we told you last time, is support, and we'll start financing teaching and development in Africa for this reason. They are well educated, they are highly educated, but
Yes.
the environment for them is not there. We see it in Ghana. As
Yes,
one of the we had one of the students who worked for us in the as masters at the in the interview to the press a couple of weeks ago says they trained us in Atomic University, but they couldn't give us a job. And now we have a job with Keshe Foundation. I mean, we stay home. Training students to become so highly educated and then losing them is a loss of an asset to a nation. And this is what we got to change. Thank you very much for your work.
My request, Mr. Keshe, for the very beginning, maybe if we could get some books, because also internet is not always available and expensive for people, to get some books for the students, for the participants of the workshop that they can read, and yeah.
The books are easier for you to download. The books are all on the website, on the internet somewhere. If they can download one of the PDFs and then you can print it cheaply in Africa.
Okay.
The books are free of charge everywhere in the world. So if for us to print books and trying to get to you, the pleasure of what we've seen now that the books are freely on the internet, just download once the PDF and then print it cheap for $1 or $2 and let everybody has it. This is the gift from us to the humanity.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
Carry on.
This afternoon, after this lecture now, I have an invitation by the Ministry for Human Affairs. Yeah, they are already calling me that not to be late, to go there for 1.5 hours. And tomorrow is the presentation in the university, main university in Juba.
Thank you very much for your hard work.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank
you for your teaching. Thank you for your teaching, Mr. Keshe.
You're welcome. What you're doing, it's been my wish for decades. Thank you very much, Herbert.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you indeed. We join you, or if you can record your conferences, even audio, and send it to us. So when you come back to Austria, bring it with you. and we put it as part of the teaching, because each one of us teaches different way. And
on next week on Monday, I will be back in Austria.
Thank you very much. Safe journey, and thank you very much for all your hard work.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Kesh. Thank you.
I have taught in different universities in Africa, and I know it's beautiful to see these people devoted to change, and we have to give that ground to them to do. Many of these scientists take to the boats because there is no job at home. We have to keep them at home and destroy the boats. Thank you very much indeed.
Mr. Kesh, some people are concerned that the books are available free in PDF or something on the internet. There's questions coming up about that. I don't think that that's what you meant. It was just sort of for
Put it this way: if anybody,
for African people that don't have the access to the books normally. Is that true? Or?
The people, the point, the concern is those who want to read the books, they can always download it and donate anything they like to the foundation. We got to the point we opened the patents. Now the books are even in Chinese, in different languages. We'll print all the books from China in the coming weeks. All our books, all the languages, those who want the hard copy in the original way will be published and printed and distributed out of Chinese printing offices, or what do you call it, companies. We have lost trust in where we printed. They took a huge amount of money from us, and according to what you all know, refused to deliver the book by the instruction of the people who are behind it. So now we bring our printing into, we paid some 25,000 euro for the books to be delivered, and they refused. They're taking the money and they run. And we understand, all of us, the reason behind it. So we're transferring all our books, all our publication into China mainland. We trust the nation and we work through the nation. That's why we are holding back some. We lost some 8,000 books now this way to Belgian printers as fraud and deception, which is the nature of the work was set up to do. All the books, if you go on the internet, you can download it. Otherwise, if the hard copies now get published and printed in China and will be distributed from China outwards. The process is very simple. If you want to download it, it's the books have been the backbone of financing a lot of the works of the foundation. It's there. If you download it and you learn from it, put it back into the society, and you can contribute to the foundation. And in Africa, everything is free. Even the books are free. The African students, they can register freely on the line and learn and download one and then they spread across. I've seen the same thing in Sierra Leone. I've seen the same thing in Kinshasa. I've seen the same thing in Banjul and other places. Paying 20, 25 euro for a book is too much, but it costs a few dollars to print one and then they spread it across the universities. Everything to Africa and what we call the nations who are developing themselves to become in a space technology, they shouldn't fall behind. It's totally free by the foundation. Thank you very much, Herbert. Is there anything else, or shall we call it the day, Rick?
Mr. Kesh, this is Klaus again. I just wanted to tell Herbert, because I know that he had a lot of expenses in South Sudan. If you need support, Kesh Foundation Austria can help you concerning the printing costs. So just let's stay in contact.
Okay, Klaus, I hear you. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. If you put a budget to the university, see how many copies they want to produce, 50, 100, 1,000, and how much it'll cost for printing offices in the university to print it, the download, the foundation will pay for it.
Okay, we will make a budget. I need to find out how many pages is the book.
No, I don't know. Some book, I don't know the paper. They print out A4. It's 200 or 300 pages, but we made a payment to the university to print it, but to the limits they accept to do. But cannot be sold. Has to be given to the students freely. This has to be made. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
it's clear. It's clear. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. This is the work we do as foundation. The knowledge has to be free, and for those who can't afford it, we provide it. This is the way we started some 20, 30 years ago, and we keep to our ethos. No man should fall behind just because of financial means in gaining knowledge. That's why all our teachings has been free up to now until all the nations of people, even the Europeans. We have Europeans who can't afford the books. We're giving them books freely. We have given a book freely to people in Saudi Arabia who could not afford buying it. The first books of the Keshe Foundation went to Saudis who could not afford a book, and without its origination. Any other?
Will that be available on the main Keshe Foundation website, Mr. Keshe?
What is on the Keshe Foundation website is for sale. What is on the internet you can do, because it's already been downloaded. We know it's been downloaded millions of times. They made sure it goes, and that's how it stands, and it's a pleasure to see it.
So people are just to look it up on the internet and find a PDF copy somewhere. Is that the idea? They're wondering what link
If
to
they
go
find
to.
it, they can donate to the foundation. But a lot of people would like to have the hard copy. The hard copies will be going out of what you call it, the China in the coming weeks. We will start reprinting heavily in China. Anything else? Do we have? Thank you very much, Herbert. Wish you all the best with your meeting today and tomorrow presentation. And we see you back in Austria when you come back.
Good day, Mr. Keshe.
Rick, do we have anything else?
There was a question from. Hello, there's some background noise there. Just a second.
Yeah, you can disconnect Herbert because he's there. They can't come up.
Okay.
Or put him on the silence. We can keep the picture.
Okay. There was a question in the Q&A from earlier in the workshop from Ram, who says last week Naomi was healed with a pain pad of CO2, zinc oxide, and CH3. Can you give us precisions about the mixture? Thanks a lot.
The process is not, that has to be done by understanding the condition.
So it may be different for different people in different locations and so on.
Yeah.
And what would be the best way for someone to proceed with that? Would they need to go through a doctor and
what is the condition? Yes, yeah. We're trying to organize this with the Keshe Foundation doctors. Now there are, I think, about over 100 of them that we can teach the doctors, and then you have to, all these things has to be done with the through medical doctors. And it has to be discussed, people who understand how to do, and doctors, if they have a problem or they look at a new way to do it, it gets discussed in the medical teaching on Wednesday afternoons, and they advise each other how to do what they've done. We put a section that people could write to the doctors for advice, but these doctors are so busy that they're all looking after their own patients. Gradually in the future, we're able to answer these things through the medical side.
Good day, Mr. Keshe.
I know that voice from Baghdad.
Thank you. Is Jalal here?
Yes, Jalal. How is the situation in Baghdad?
Oh my God, sir. I think we have this issue for 5,000-6,000 years now. Maybe it's the fields of the minerals what we have there. Yeah. I would like to say I will donate for the printing the books for South Sudan. This is one, and I hope we open a door for that. And I have one question regarding the nano coating. If I have a tube, plastic tube, what is the difference if I nano coated the inside or the outside or both? That's all I need.
Depends what you want to use it for.
If
I
want
using it for water to pass through, do the outside, because inside the coating will be absorbed if there is a salt content. If it is just to be a field dimensional, you can use both sides.
Okay, if I want to make guns of the guns, I put two bottles, plastic bottles, and tube between them, plastic tube. So if I need to do that, can I only nano coat the inside or both?
You
Outside,
can
inside.
do the inside, don't do the outside, because if you want to hold the gans of the gans on the field plasma level, you need to maintain it and hold it inside. But you need to make it dynamic, because when you do it in a pipe, it becomes a ray. It becomes like a plasma of the light extended.
Okay.
You cannot hold it. You have to understand with the difference of the shape will do.
Okay, because I tried it and I didn't have not much because it's not dynamic. So I will change it for dynamic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cash.
Thank you indeed. You can send your donation then to Austrian Cash Foundation, and they will, Herbert from there will send it to South Sudan University.
By the way, Mr. Cash, is that the card is opened now, or
Pardon?
it's about the card, the payment card, or it's the old way?
You can do the bank transfer to Austrian, or if you do, pay it by PayPal.
I can send him directly the data he needs, Mr.
Yes,
Cash.
you do it directly, and then everything goes directly to Cash Foundation Austria to South Sudan, because Herbert is from Austria. They can organize it directly there.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Klaus.
Thanks for your support.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, that's the last picture of last week when the officials signing the peace treaty. I might have a very good news for all of you very, very soon. But I have to hold till I know. I see Giovanni has joined us. Hi, Giovanni. Good afternoon to you. And good afternoon to Italy.
By the way, I understand it's Giovanni's birthday.
Birthday!
Pardon?
Happy birthday!
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Can
We don't say how many years you are.
Ask Cash, no problem, because I think that very soon I became immortal, so there is no problem.
You have already become immortal.
Happy birthday, Giovanni! Immortal!
Good.
Nice
Thank you
to
much.
hear your voice.
Thank you, really.
Thank you very much. Thank you indeed.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. And how is our Naomi?
Very good, Cash. The improving it's continue, and now she drink like 3 glass of water from the month a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yes, you can.
Congratulations. How she started speaking?
Not yet, but because
she will. Now that she starts swallowing, she has strengthened the tongue and the voice box. And then as she starts eating, then the voice will come back faster. It's amazing, huh?
Yes, she wants to eat the pizza too.
And the spaghetti.
A lot of tension because when you pass with the pizza or something else near her, she put the hand and take it immediately.
That's
Dangerous
fantastic.
now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, sometimes he punched.
She's Italian. She can't help it, huh?
What?
I said she's Italian. She can't help it.
Italian, sorry,
I said she is Italian. She can't help it. She'll go for a pizza anytime.
Ah, yes, sure. Having the blood.
Yeah, that's fantastic news. That's
yeah.
That is fantastic. What is the situation with the two hospitals in Italy?
In September, we start to set up all of them, and it's very good organization, and there are some doctors, and I in touch with them. There is possibility to have support from others person that want to realize this kind of project, because it's like a new possibilities for the people to have a support for the health. The profile that we maintain in this case, it's low, and because we want to give only support to official medicine, so we don't start to make a substitution of the official medicine, because we don't want to create problem with all that structure. So I think that can be done very good, and I start to collaborate with some doctors. For example, for the case of Naomi too, because I'm the file ready of Naomi, and so I collect all the information. I need only to write the quantity of the guns, of the material, but it's all written. There is no problem. And all the magnetic resonance. The next week I have a meeting with a neuro doctor that we studied together all the file about the magnetic resonance from the beginning. So we made we can do a exactly examination of the progress and what is changed, what we can show to the other doctor, how it's possible that these things can be happened, and so I think that all the people can receive a help from all this information.
I think, as we discussed, this is going to be used as a test trial for other coma patients and head injuries. And in the two hospitals, this can be used as a benchmark, that how you can bring people out of coma and how you can repair brain injuries even at such extent as Naomi's.
Yes, because
we see that you have done a very good data collection, that exactly what was done and how the results was. And there's enough videos that we see the progress week by week.
Yes, I collect all the material, which what I have done with the photo before the application of, for example, of the helmet, and the first day of after that I apply the helmet, and after another picture, another photo of 1 week later. So I have all control the file exactly and in a scientific way. So nobody can say nothing about the process, because it was very clear, very precise how he did it. I did it.
Thank you very much. And I know this is where I have to, I mean, we have to inform you that the hospital or the hospitals which will carry on the work of the Keshe Foundation in Italy, they have already given us a massive land space which is theirs in Ghana.
Yes.
And we have the documents for it. It's a huge space of land which gives us whatever we want to do in Ghana. And that was in return of we sharing knowledge and letting them to share, to be able to develop it further. I thank the doctors in the hospital with their donation. It's a huge, massive, more than 100 acres of land which they have been given to. And as I said to Giovanni, we thank the doctors in the hospital that they allows us to develop the technology in Africa in a very easy way. Thank you, Giovanni. Thanks for everything.
No, thank you to you, Sirkesh. It's
Thank you
not
indeed.
enough to say thank you to you, Sirkesh.
You're welcome. At least we managed to bring Naomi back to drink, and then one day we're going to tell her to shut up.
Yes, sure.
Now that you start drinking and eating, the voice will come back much. It's more than 4 weeks, 5 weeks now you start using the headphone.
Yes, Sirkesh.
It's very rapid, very rapid.
Yes,
That
yes.
is fantastic.
Uh-huh.
That is fantastic.
There was a switch immediately when I started to put the headphone.
I told you 3 months ago.
Yes.
I told you 3 months ago to do it, but it's okay. Everything needs time.
Yeah.
Does she listen to music? I'm wondering.
She listens to everything. She's so
Okay.
naughty. You don't want to know.
Yes.
She was naughty when she was in Balletta, but I think with this she's got 10 times, 100 times worse.
No, Sirkesh, I in this period, usually until some months ago, I did this to listen music and so on. But are a couple months that I start to teach her in the spiritual way. So what she listen, or what I when I speak to her, I speak only about the spiritual things. And if I show some DVD, I show, for example, message of some spiritual masters, or some teaching, because now she have this experience, and this experience is very big for his life, and it's not casual. So I think that I feel that my job is now to help her to become a new being, a spiritual being. And so I start to feed her with spiritual words. For example, during the night, last night, I went near her when during the sleep, and I speak about of love, of the fast recovery, of the possibility that she can bring very well back the right part. And every night I do this. So I change my approach with Naomi, and go deep in the spiritual way. The same I do for me. Because what's happened, it's a big effort, and there is no reason, because if we do nothing about. So I think that if these things it's happened to me, to my daughter, it's because we need to change, to make a big effort and jump to a high spiritual level. And so I help her in this. And so I practice too much. Maybe my wife kick out from my house because
she lets you do it, and when you go out, she start dancing.
Yes, because I say, oh, meditation in the lab. So I think that she keep me only because now I'm in this situation.
After she talks, she says, Giovanni, out. So that's it. You've done your job.
Sure.
I mean, it's nice to see you laughing after such a year, 1 year of so much pressure.
Oh, yes.
I admire your soul and the way you've done everything for her. A lot of people haven't been in touch with Naomi. She used to teach our son as a teacher, and the only thing she could teach him was everything which is naughty in Italian language and naughty in Italian life. And she always said, he has to learn this, otherwise he doesn't become Italian. Now I understand. Thank you very much for everything. Thank you, Giovanni.
To you, Sukesh. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you to all.
Bye-bye.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Do we have anything else?
I have a question, Mr. Kess, if it's okay.
Who's speaking?
It's Eric again.
Yes.
From Denmark. My question is about soul-to-soul communication. I have been in the lucky position to have a little bit of practice in this for some years. And when I have a connection to another person, when I think of this person, I immediately get a feedback very clearly. And lately, I get teaching in soul to soul. But what annoys me is that it's not received in a conscious level. And I wonder, what can I do in order to get these messages clearly into my consciousness so I can act on them immediately instead of it materializes in days or weeks? That's my question.
I don't understand.
Okay, if someone tries to send me a message soul to soul,
yeah,
I cannot take it into my consciousness. It's in there, and it materializes in a way that I later understand what I got, but I don't get it at the moment I receive it.
I don't understand what you're explaining. You mean you don't understand the message when you receive it, or at the time, then later on you understand?
I have been told I get the message correctly, but the message does not appear in my consciousness. So if someone tells me something in an instant, then I don't instantly know what has been told me. I have got the message I've been told, but I don't know it immediately. I would like to be able to do that. Is there anything I can do?
It's the maturity of the soul. The more we understand our own function, the way we operate, the faster we reach that point. One day I answer this question to you very soon.
Okay, thank you,
One
Mr.
day, very soon, because there are things happening in the background that if I explain what you said, trying to explain it further, it can cause mayhem in some places. But if you come back to this in the next few months, I'll explain to you how it's done and how you can be present and receive, but decide not to what do you call it, act upon. Is your consciousness or is your soul, which in a way goes into your structure, but the physicality is not aware of. I explained this in some teachings in the past, a couple of years, 2 years ago, especially in the medical section teaching about consciousness. We've been
Thank
to
you,
every
Mr.
corner of
Kess.
this planet. Thank you very much. Thanks
Thank
for your
you very much for all you do for us.
Thank you
I'll
very
do
much
my
for
best
sharing
to
knowledge.
give something back in Africa.
Thank you very much indeed. Been to, as I said, to every corner of this planet, and it's becoming very international in a way that we share all our knowledge so freely. Is there anything, Rick, that we can go, or shall we call it a day for this week?
I think you've done your duty for today, Mr. Kesh. Let me see, let me just double check here.
Let me, while you're looking, checking, the Keshe Foundation teaching now is extended to Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursdays. On Tuesday is a consultation with regarding the peace plan, one nation, one planet. It starts from, am I correct, 4 o'clock Central European time, where the Universal Council members, Earth Core, and core members of the core, Keshe Foundation core team, Universal Council, and the Earth Council are present, and it's open to public. The Universal Council support team members are present. If you want to join, discuss, or put your ideas regarding the writings of the charter for the universe, what we call the one nation, one planet, you can participate. On Wednesdays, Rick runs his usual workshops, which is fantastic if you can join in. It's nothing but practicality and showing, and as he says, crying nowadays, a lot of knowledge passed on.
No tears no tears in last night's show, but sometimes it gets kind of emotional. People have gratitude and they experience things. Yeah.
As of 15th of September, the medical teaching and the agriculture teaching starts again, and the Spaceship Institute teaching for the last time of this year starts. The teaching and expansion of knowledge in Chinese will be organized in the coming time, that the Chinese can join the teaching in Chinese language across the world. We are looking to expand the other directions, but most of the teachings has been translated to some 18 languages which you can access on and be able to reach. Thank you very much for the whole team, Keshe Foundation team worldwide, and we thank all of you for what you've done and what you're doing. Then hopefully very soon we'll be able to change the course. Thank you very much indeed. We can take us away with music, as Caroline says.
Yes, I think Flint has that lined up as we speak. Great, thank you, Mr. Kesh. Thank you very much.
Thank you indeed.
This brings to the end the 186th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, August 24th, 2017. Thank you all for attending, and hopefully see you next week at the same time and place.
There is something, just before I forget, Rick. There is a possibility that during our visit into Iran, we will not be able to participate. I will not be able to participate in the Knowledge Seekers workshops if the bandwidth is not there for us to do. So in the time, the Thursdays we are in Iran, we'll try to leave a message behind, but we'll be there in our soul. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kesh. Okay, Flint, are you ready to play?
Yes, I am.
Take it away.
Okay.
Don't worry, Mr. Cash. We are here. We can complete your work.
Thank you very much indeed. It'll be the first time I won't be there for nearly 2.5 years. But somehow we'll try to get through, even if it's by telephone.
I'll hold you to that, Jalal, too. So we have some copy to use.
I'm joking. My God, I'm joking.
No joke.
The support team will make it happen.
I was sweating for hours before this show because I thought Mr. Kesh wasn't going to be there, or Caroline. So.
You can join us in Tehran. We're trying to organize a conference in Tehran for public. We'll see how the permissions are granted by the government. And as we are in an educational teaching week, 2 weeks in Iran, we share knowledge with all the Iranians, and those Iranians who come back to Iran to meet with us in the universities or public teaching. Thank you very much indeed.
Great, thank you again. Okay, Flint, go ahead.
Yeah, you want to say your exit statements?
Well, I did once, but I'll do it again. This is the really, truly end of the 186 Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, August 24th, 2017. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and see you once again. Okay, Flint, now you can do it.